Looks like we're ready, so we're going to get started. Good morning. My name is Judge Hope Hogan. I'm an administrative law judge that's been designated at the request of the Public Service Commission to serve as the hearing officer for today's hearing. Let the record show that it's 8:31 a.m. on June 2nd, 2023. This is the time, date, and place set by notices of filing and notice of hearing issued by the North Dakota Public Service Commission on February 1st and March 30th for hearings in case number PU-22-391. This hearing today is being held at the Heritage Center and State Museum in Bismarck, North Dakota. As we begin, I would ask everybody to please check your cell phone to make sure it's either on silence or shut off so that we don't have cell phone interruptions throughout our hearing today. I know that most people in attendance today have strong feelings regarding this case and the subject matter. With that said, I would ask everybody in our audience to please refrain today from any clapping, cheering, or groaning during the hearing. Likewise, I would kindly ask that the signages be removed from our hearing room today. If they're not voluntarily removed, I'm going to request that security please ask you to remove the signs from our hearing room. This is an administrative hearing, and so we must administer decorum. This cheering, clapping, groaning, comments from the audience is not appropriate, and I'd ask that you please be respectful of everybody in attendance and all our witnesses, even if you disagree with what they're saying today. There's several attendance sheets. I think there's some at the door entrances. I believe there's one that might be being passed around. I'd ask you to please sign the attendance sheet so that the commission has a record of all who attended this hearing. Likewise, if you do wish to provide public comment today, I would ask that you please note that on the attendance sheet, just so I have an idea of how much or how many people would like to speak today and the amount of time we need to devote to public comment. This is the last of 5 days scheduled for hearing on the application of SCS Carbon Transport LLC for Certificate of Corridor Compatibility and Route Permit concerning an approximately 320-mile pipeline for carbon dioxide ranging from 4.5 to 24-inch diameter and the associated facilities located in Burley, Cass, Dickey, Emmons, Logan, McIntosh, Morton, Oliver, Richland, and Sargent counties. This hearing has been scheduled to focus primarily on the portions of the project in Oliver, Morton, and Burley counties. This is also a continuation of our March 14th Bismarck hearing. We did not have enough time to devote to the interveners' witnesses, so a second day was scheduled primarily to hear those witnesses. I would also note that yesterday afternoon, a petition to schedule another hearing date was filed with the commission, but the commission has not yet ruled on that request. So as of now, or currently, this is the last scheduled hearing date in this matter. The notice of filing and notice of hearing specified the following issues to be considered concerning the application for waiver of procedures and time schedules. Number one are the proposed facilities of such length, design, location, and purpose that they will produce minimal adverse effect and that the adherence to applicable procedures, requirements, and time schedules may be waived. And number two, is it appropriate for the commission to waive any procedures, requirements, and time schedules as requested in the application. Concerning the applications for Certificate of Corridor Compatibility and Route Permit, the following issues are to be considered. Number one, will construction, operation, and maintenance of the facility at the proposed locations produce minimal adverse effect on the environment and upon the welfare of the citizens of North Dakota? Number two, will the proposed facility compatible with environmental preservation and the efficient use of resources? And number 3, will construction, operation, and maintenance of the facility at the proposed location minimize adverse human and environmental impact while ensuring continuing system reliability and integrity and ensuring that energy needs are met and fulfilled in an orderly and timely fashion? I'm now going to ask the parties to make their appearance for the record. Mr. Bender, do you want to please state your appearance for the record and introduce anybody that's attending with you today?
Certainly. Thank you, Your Honor. Lawrence Bender, P.O. Box 1855, Bismarck, appearing on behalf of the applicant. Also with me here today is Mr. Patrick Malberg. He's also with the firm of Frederickson & Beyer.
Mr. Bender, it's my understanding that Summit does not intend to call any witnesses for today's hearing.
That's correct. We submitted some written testimony as was encouraged by the hearing officer.
Speak up. Use the microphone. We can't hear you.
All right. We will try to do that. Thank you. Mr. Pelham, would you like to state your appearance for the record and introduce commission staff that's appearing with you today?
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. Zachary Pelham, Special Assistant Attorney General on behalf of the Public Service Commission. To my left is Victor Shook, Public Utilities Director. Victor may have some questions, and we ask that he be able to ask questions today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And either Mr. Leibel or Mr. Jordy, would you like to state your appearance for the record?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Your Honor and Commissioners. Brian Jordy and Steve Leibel on behalf of landowner interveners.
And Mr. Jordy, do you know how many witnesses you'll be calling today?
Not exactly. We think it's going to be about 7 or 8 landowners, and that we might have a couple more witnesses depending how it goes.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Pranis, would you like to state your appearance for the record and indicate the number of witnesses you intend to call today?
Thank you, Your Honor. Kevin Pranis on behalf of Liuna, Minnesota, and North Dakota, and we intend to call 1 witness today.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bakke, would you like to state your appearance for the record and indicate the number of witnesses you intend to call today?
Yes. Good morning, Your Honor. I represent John Warford, Chad Moldenauer, and Chad Wachter, and with me here today is paralegal Lori Steckler, and we'll be calling 4 to 5 witnesses.
Thank you. We'll now take opening comments from the commissioners. Commissioner Chrisman.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thanks everyone for being here. For those that were here last time, you heard me say this before, it would be a lot simpler for us to just read the evidence and make a decision, have a hearing over in the hearing room and not do this kind of thing. But we know this is a long case, long in number of miles. So we initially scheduled 4 hearings, Bismarck, Linton, Gwenner, and Wahpeton. And the reason we did that is because this commission is not about figuring out a way to see that something gets built or to figure out a way to stop something from being built. Our responsibility is to follow the law that is in place for the siting of energy infrastructure, and if something meets the standards of the law, to issue a siting certificate, and if it doesn't meet the standards of the law, to deny a siting certificate. That's our responsibility. Whether we think a project is good or not, it's the standards of the law that we base our decision on. But we can make the best decision if we have lots of information. That's why we take the show on the road and go out and try to hear from people, because many times people have brought things to us that us or the company didn't see out there, weren't aware of. And so a lot of the responsible build-out of energy infrastructure in North Dakota has been the result of information we got at public hearings. So we scheduled 4. The first one in Bismarck went so long, we've added a 5th because we want to hear from you. And I believe Your Honor has decided to kind of intersperse testimony from the attorneys with public testimony throughout the day. So certainly looking forward to that. I paid you all a compliment this morning, if anybody, for whoever was watching the KX News Network. They asked me, how do we prevent public testimony from going off the rails and turning into violence or something like that, like we see around the nation. And I said, the way we prevent that is by living in North Dakota. Because in 10 and a half years in North Dakota, we have had emotional testimony. These are serious issues we deal with, but people have been respectful. That includes the things that the judge was talking about, not hollering, not clapping, not booing, not running around with signs. That stuff can be done outside, but we have had respectful North Dakota people come and allow us to run a respectful North Dakota hearing so that everyone can, in fact, be heard without being shouted down or intimidated. And so thank you all for that, and I look forward to a good hearing today.
Thank you. Commissioner Haugen-Hoffert?
Good morning, everyone. Commissioner Chrisman summarized a lot of things very eloquently, and I ditto that. Looking at this right now, we have 14 witnesses coming up as part of the interveners, but I know a lot of you are out there regarding the public. We're glad you're here. You're showing interest, and I'm sure you want an opportunity to speak too. So I look forward to hearing from you. Like Randy said, we look at all the information that's gathered to make the best decision based on the rules or the law that is before us as a public service commissioner. So I thank you. It could be a long day, but I guess if you really believe in something, that's the dedication or the commitment we're willing to do the job the best. So thank you.
Start with the public. We don't need to hear all the
Okay. This is. I'm going to ask. I don't know if we're starting off on a very good foot here. We can't have comments coming from the audience. We have to maintain decorum today. So I'm going to ask you to refrain from that. And following the comments from the commissioners, I'm going to go through the schedule or procedure for how we're going to move through witnesses today. So I'd ask that you please just be patient because I will shortly go through that information. Mr. Dawson?
Good morning, Judge Hogan. I am Tim Dawson. I am the Director of the Office of Administrative Hearings and act as an administrative law judge, much like Judge Hogan does, but not today. Today I am a substitute decision maker. I am sitting in for Julie Fedorchak, who recused herself, and I look forward to the information that I'll receive today and have received some very good information in the past. So I look forward to a good hearing.
Thank you. Because today is a continuation of our previous Bismarck hearing, this hearing will be focused on intervener witnesses and public comment. The goal of today's hearing is for the Commission to hear from as many people as possible and to balance the needs of both the parties to present their witnesses and the members of the public that wish to provide testimony. We will be doing blocks of public testimony that will be interspersed throughout the day. So we will begin our hearing this morning with approximately 1 hour block of public testimony, and then other blocks will be interspersed when there's either natural breaks in the testimony or lunch breaks or other rest breaks. Following our first 1 hour block of public testimony this morning, we'll then move to the intervener witnesses. The order for interveners will be in reverse order from our previous hearings. So the labor union will present its witness first, followed by the witnesses from Attorney Jordy and Libel, and then finally we will move to Mr. Baki's witnesses. We will plan to take a lunch break around noon today and a supper break as well if we go that long. Also, we will have a short morning break and afternoon break. Before we move to public comments, I'm just going to address a couple more preliminary issues. As I mentioned at the previous hearings, I am maintaining one exhibit list, which is currently 6 pages long, so I won't go through all the exhibits that have been admitted. But if there's any questions regarding exhibits, please feel free to talk to me at a break. And I'm just quickly going to go around and ask the parties if they have any other preliminary matters we need to discuss. Mr. Bender?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Pelham?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jordy?
One moment, Your Honor. We would just join Mr. Baki's motion to reconsider on the pre-filed testimony, that there's been no opportunity to cross-examine or test that testimony. So landowner interveners join that motion.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Baki?
Did you want us to introduce our new exhibits at this time or wait?
Maybe if you want to do that with your witnesses, that
Okay.
might work better.
Okay, thank you.
Any other preliminary matters?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, so we will now move to public testimony, and I just want to provide a few instructions before we start that process. If you would like to provide public testimony during this first block, I'd ask that you please start making your way down to the first couple rows so that we can expedite the process of getting people up to the witness stand. If you choose to testify today or provide public comment, you'll have to come up to the witness table. You will be sworn in and subject to questions from the parties along with the commissioners. If you represent a group or entity, I'd ask that you please identify the group and your relationship with the group. Also, if you're a landowner, if you could specify where your land ownership is located, that would be helpful. I just want to remind everybody that public comments or public testimony, this is an evidentiary hearing, so it's not an opportunity to ask the parties or the commissioners any questions. It's your opportunity to provide information or evidence to the commission. I'd ask that you please limit your testimony to the construction and effect of the pipeline and refrain from discussing issues the commissioners do not have jurisdiction over, such as eminent domain. I'd also ask that you please not repeat concerns that have been previously stated by a prior witness, especially someone that's similarly situated to you. If the point has been made, the commission will consider it. I'm not sure exactly how many people wish to provide public comment today, but I anticipate it's a lot. So I'd ask that you please try to limit your testimony to 10 minutes. If your testimony runs longer than that, I will kindly ask you to try to wrap it up. We do have a limited amount of hearing time today, and like I mentioned, the commission would like to hear from as many people as possible today. So with that said, we will begin public testimonies. So do we have somebody that would like to go first?